waiting for a train to go by, trying to stop sweating. You know, the usual. So it's Thursday, June 19th. It's Juneteenth. It's a holiday. For me, I didn't have to work today. So, of course, I've been outside, working in the garden, doing some stuff with the chickens. And I had this idea yesterday or the day before about something I wanted to talk about because it's something I just learned about not that long ago. And I think it's interesting, and it's a little bit apart from the chicken and garden type content, but it is the growth that I wanted to also be a part of scratching the dirt. Sorry, I'm being nosy. It happens. Things keep happening out here that are distracting me. Here's people driving down the street. The neighbor was leaving and then came back, and then there was a cardinal over there. And I just keep like, ooh, squirrel. It's 11 a.m., a little after 11 a.m., and I've run out of power, like physical power out here. It's hot, it's humid, and I've been up and down physically and walking and standing and doing all of the things that you do in the garden, and it drives me insane that on some days I just don't have the strength or the energy or whatever it is to stay out here for a long time, which got me thinking about the thing that I wanted to talk about. And I did some research yesterday about this topic, and I even kind of made this whole little script, and I'm sorry, y'all, I might get to that point, but it doesn't feel like me. I'm not an actress, I'm not a script reader. So I'm just going to chat about it, and I'm going to see how it comes out. A little backstory, because what I want to talk about is affirmations versus afformations, which is something I just recently learned about. Because I have a history of being like roller coaster with self-development, right? There are times in my life where my mental health and my spiritual health and all of that has been excellent. Like I look back, and there's one specific time in my life when I was at the absolute top of my game. Absolute top of my game. I want to get back there. That's what I'm working towards. But since then, so that's been many, many, many years ago. Since then, I've dropped off on that. I've dropped off on the habits that I had. I've dropped off on the beliefs that I was building. Some healing that I thought I had done, actually, I didn't work all the way through. I was kind of on that high. If you've ever done any healing work, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. But there's this like high you get, this like epiphany almost thing that happens when you have kind of a breakthrough. And I had a breakthrough. That was a big one. It was a huge one for me. And at that point, I felt like I was just on top of it. I had finally healed the demons. I had done the work. I was ready to go. I was going to be healthy. And wouldn't you know, I backslid. I backslid big time. So, and I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was COVID. I don't know if it was being a teacher when maybe that wasn't exactly what I was supposed to be doing. And there was a lot of dissonance in my brain between what I thought I was supposed to be doing and the actual, what it was like every single day. I don't know for sure. I don't know what happened. I just know that last year in 2024, which was a shit show of a year for me, I went into November, December going, please just get me to 2025. Please just get me to 2025. 2025 is going to be different. And it was an actual demarcation in my brain, like January 1st, 2025. It wasn't a resolution. Sorry, y'all, aphasia. It wasn't a resolution type situation where I was like, oh, I'm going to set all these resolutions and I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to, go to the gym for 2 weeks and then drop off or whatever those things are. I'm not a resolution person, but for whatever reason, January 1st, 2025 was my mark. And I was like, it's going to be different. I'm going to get it together. I'm going to get healthy again. And I have done some work in 2025 so far. We're almost halfway through the year. We're almost to the end of June. There have been major changes, major shifts in my attitude, major shifts in my level of contentment, satisfaction, joy, all of those things. But I've only done scratch the surface work. So I am ready now, I think, to start digging a little deeper. And the reason why I kind of decided that now's the time to dig a little deeper is I started having some thoughts about my mother's passing. My mom passed away in September of 2024. And not necessarily even about her passing, I started having some thoughts about my childhood and the way I was raised. And um, there are issues there that I've never admitted before. And I had this conversation with Jose the other night because I talked to him about everything, because he helps my scatterer go straight a little bit better. He thinks very differently than I do. And so using him as a counterbalance to my melodramatic, all or nothing type thinking is very helpful for me. And I appreciate him so much for that. But I told him, and another thing too that you should know about me is that I don't really process unless I say it out loud. Nothing really. I don't think quietly. I talk to myself when I think. I don't, it is not possible, at least in my experience, for me to process any sort of emotion without naming it out loud and talking about it out loud. There have been conversations that I have had where I would make a statement and immediately after that go, no, hearing that out loud, that's not what I think. That is not true for me at all. So I like having someone in my life that is non-judgmental and patient, so that I can process everything, and it takes a while. There are some things that I need to process alone. And so when I work on those things, I work on them when nobody's home, when Jose's not here, and I do it out loud. I listen to myself talk out loud. So all of that to say that I used to believe in affirmations, and I still believe in affirmations, don't get me wrong. I never really used them in the way that they were supposed to be used. I've never been super consistent with some things. I try, I give it a good go, and then for some reason it falls off. I think it's so easy for me to get distracted. So consistency was never a thing. But I've always believed in the idea of the words I am, right? Anything that follows I am is very powerful. But it's not enough for me to be like, I am smart, I am beautiful, I am loved. It's not enough. I'm a why person. I've always been a why person. I drive people crazy at work because I'm always like, well, why? Why do we do this? I drive my husband crazy because I'm like, why are you doing it that way? Why can't I just do this? So affirmations are great on the surface. They're great in theory to me, but they've never been the thing that I went, yes, that's what I need to be doing. That's going to help me. That's the thing that's going to get me there. And then about a week ago, I don't know, my days run together, but I was scrolling through media, social media, and I saw a video, and this guy was talking about affirmations. And he was saying, don't use affirmations, use afformations. So the idea of an affirmation is that you're forming a question. Rather than just making a statement, you're forming a question. So the way I understand it, and of course, I don't have sources here. I only have what I understand from what I've been reading. But the way I understand it is that an affirmation is a statement that your brain, your subconscious, may or may not believe, right? If you truly have an IQ of 20, which I know I'm just using a ridiculous number, and you are saying, I am the smartest person in my city, your brain isn't going to be able to make that happen, because even your brain, your subconscious is going to be like, nope, can't do it. An affirmation gives your brain a problem to solve, right? So, for example, if we stick with the SMART, right? I am smart. Opposed to that is the idea of an affirmation where you would ask a question instead. Like, why am I able to solve so many problems easily? Okay. So instead of giving your brain something that it goes, I don't think that's possible, your brain goes, wait, can you be a problem solver? Can it become easy for you? And then our brain will start to work out the ways in which that can become true. So I do believe 100% that we are what we think. I do believe that we create our own environment, our own experiences of this life. I do believe that most of my backsliding, well, all of my backsliding was due to my inability to have the discipline to keep my brain straight, to keep it on track, to keep it focused, to keep it more positive. And so the affirmations thing has really got me kind of excited. I do know, I will tell y'all this. You can tell that I'm not a thin person. And I've had some struggles lately. Like I posted a video last week that showed my entire body, and I went round and round with that. I have footage from over a month ago where I was doing stuff in the garden and you could see my entire body, and I did not use it because, you know, obviously I don't have what I would consider to be like a social media body. And let me be clear. I don't feel bad about myself. I don't have I don't hate myself. I don't hate my body. I do know that in the last couple of years since I got my very first ever desk sit down job, that my body has changed drastically. I have gained weight. I have lost muscle. You know, obviously, if you've ever had a sit down job, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But sitting for 40 hours a week, it's hard for me to then on the evenings and weekends kind of make up for that in physical activity. So I used to always use this affirmation, and I had learned that you say, like, I am, and then the thing you want to be. Right. So I would always say, I am 180 pounds because I always wanted to be 180 pounds. I still want to be 180 pounds. Now, to be clear, I'm 5'9". 180 pounds is still overweight, like technically. I don't care. That's the number I want. I don't want to be super skinny. I've never been super skinny. I don't think that that's where my comfort zone is. I think 180 pounds is where my comfort zone is. So we aren't going to talk about how far we have to go to there, but I will tell you it's a ways. And you can, I mean, you can look at the video and you can see like this body is not a super healthy thin body. Anyway, we don't need to make it all about that. Anyway, what I changed that to is asking myself, why is my 180-pound body getting healthier, stronger, and more flexible every day? Or sometimes I just say, why is my 180-pound body getting healthier, stronger, and more flexible? The idea here is that if I continue to pose this question to my brain enough, then my brain is really going to be like, oh, this is a problem we need to solve here because that doesn't yet exist. How can we make that exist? So subconsciously, my habits would change slowly. You know, my eating patterns, my physical activity patterns, my stamina, all of that. Let me talk about, so yesterday I spent some time and I started thinking about the things that I wanted to affirm rather than affirm in my life. And so I wrote some affirmations. I used my best friend, ChatGPT, to help me. And ChatGPT will spit out a million things and they don't always ring true. So some of these are mine, some of these are edited from what ChatGPT spit out. But I do like ChatGPT for those kinds of things because it helps me think broader than I do. Sometimes I will get tunnel vision So I have different categories here. I'm just going to read these. These are the ones that I settled on to start with. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to change these as I start to practice more and more, and as my life circumstances change. But I'm just going to read all of these. Full disclosure, this is everything that I'm trying to work on in my life. First one is, I called them homesteading affirmations. I don't consider this a homestead. I wish I could, but I don't. I mean, I don't know. I'm a real weird about words, but it is the one word that most people will understand easily what we're trying to do with the chickens and the self-sufficiency in the garden and all of those things. A real true dream homestead for me would be in the country with miniature Highland cows and miniature donkeys and goats and all of the things, and definitely more land for crops. But I'm going to call it a homestead for these purposes. So I have two for homesteading. Why is it getting easier for me to grow my own food? Okay. That's one of my main goals, to grow my own food. So asking my brain, why is it getting easier, should result in my brain finding ways for me to problem solve to make it easier for me to grow my own food. Second one is, why is learning more about self-sufficiency becoming a natural part of my daily life? I like that one because I'm an education nut. I'm a nerd. I like to learn as much as I can because I'm going to forget about 80% of it and then I'll relearn it. But I like that. Why is learning more about self-sufficiency becoming a natural part of my daily life? Which means I want it to become something that I automatically do, that rather than just doom scrolling, I'm looking up how to can or how to better grow my tomatoes because my tomatoes are struggling this year, that kind of thing. So those are the two for this right now. Pretty broad, not super specific. It honestly is not the main focus of where my healing, where I want to be right now, like where I want to be stronger. The creative and content. So that would be like the TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and especially YouTube. This all started with the desire to be a YouTube channel. I use TikTok as kind of like my practice field. And then I've kind of gotten, I really like TikTok because it's quick. I can do it pretty fast. I've made a promise to myself that I will post one thing a day, and I've kept that up for quite a while, which is awesome. So I just want to continue that. And the great thing too is that some of the YouTube and TikTok stuff can overlap. I can use the footage for both. But so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 affirmations for the creative and the content. 1, why are more people connecting with my videos every day? Seems obvious. That's what I want. I want to build a community. I want to build kind of a brand. So why are more people connecting with my videos every day? Why is showing up as my real self helping my channel grow? Authenticity is very important to me. And so this one is a big one. Why does entertaining storytelling come so naturally when I talk about my life on camera? I have already learned through this process that I come across differently on camera than I do in real life. In real life, I'm a riot, y'all. You have no idea. I'm hilarious. And I think part of that is that I censor my language when I'm on camera, and I don't necessarily censor my language in real life. And I also, maybe it's just that I didn't want to show you how much of a freak show I am right off the bat. But so I do want to be more entertaining when I tell stories. I do want to let the viewer engage. So that's something that I want my brain to start figuring out how to do. Why does trusting my voice help me create content that resonates? Right? I can sit here and I can talk into this camera for hours and hours and hours, and I can spend the time it takes to edit. But if it doesn't resonate with people, if people aren't seeing something that they're interested in, or that what's more important to me, that helps them, then what am I doing? Right? But I also know that I need to trust my own voice, because that's what I believe I have. I believe I have the voice to share with others. And the last one, Why does posting one honest, helpful video a day keep attracting the exact people my content is meant for? That is also important to me. I know on social media that you get caught up in follow back, subscribe, all that. I know that happens. I've been doing it too, just because I get so excited by the increase in number of followers on TikTok. Um, and every time somebody watches a video on one of my videos on YouTube, I get really stoked. But if it's not honest and helpful, then what am I doing here? Right? What's the point? I know honestly that it's helpful for me, and I know that I'm being honest with you guys. But if it doesn't hit you here or here, then what's the point? So the idea is for you guys for if you're attracted to this, it's because you need it in some way, shape, or form. Whether it just be because you think I don't know how to talk on camera and you think it's funny and cringy, or if it's because I say something that you go, oh yeah, I know how that feels. What are you doing? I want to try that too. Whatever it is, I want to attract the people that will benefit from my experiences and what I film here on YouTube. Personal growth and life balance is the next category, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. Why am I feeling more grounded even when life gets chaotic? Why is it okay for me to move slowly and still make progress? Why am I becoming more comfortable in my own skin every day? Why am I worthy of being seen, heard, and supported just as I am? Slowing down is a big deal for me. It's something that I've been intentionally doing for a while now. I definitely want to be grounded, that, I want to keep real and stay in reality at all times. Being more comfortable in my own skin, that one is another thing that probably comes back to just the way that I look, and besides just the weight, I have weird things about my head because I had a brain surgery, and I feel like I look weird. I see myself differently. I know this probably happens for everybody or for a lot of people, but the difference between what I look like on camera or in a photograph is dramatically different from what I see in the mirror. Like, what I see, and I don't know if I need to research this, I need to look into this. What I see in the mirror is far more appealing than what I see on camera. So I think I may have a sort of what do you call it? Rose colored, like I see myself with rose colored glasses. That's not the word I'm looking for, but that's all I can come up with right now. And worthy. Why am I worthy? Self-worth has been a battle of mine my entire life. That goes back to my biological father. We will get into that someday, but today is not the day. The next category is creativity, flow, and expression. I have 3 for these. Why do creative ideas come to me at the perfect time? So, and I like this one because I have all these ideas all the time and then they don't work. So I'm like, I'm so smart, and then it doesn't work. But anyways, I'm going to try to affirm for myself that creative ideas come to me at the perfect time. Why am I proud of what I make, even when it's imperfect? This one, I'm gonna affirm that, but I kind of have a little bit of that already. I actually prefer imperfection over like highly produced, professional looking things. That's just me. That's just maybe just an aesthetic thing. But because that's how I truly honestly feel about things, I want to make sure I reinforce that. And why is my creativity leading me exactly where I need to go? Wherever that may be. I'm gonna let my brain sort that one out. The next one is healing and inner peace. 3 for this one. Why is it safe for me to release old pain and move forward? I know that I have pain that I am holding on to because it's comfortable. because I know how to go through life with that pain in my body, in my heart, in my mind. I know because I've been doing it for years and years and years and years. And the new pains, I just pack them in the same suitcase and just let them hang out together. And I just keep carrying it. And it's gotten heavy, to be honest. It's gotten heavy, even with the times when I've had my epiphanies and I've had what I thought were true releases. It turns out that I just hung some stuff up in the closet for a little while. And then the next time I went downhill a little, I took them out and put them back in the suitcase. So, not to sound exactly like an English teacher, but I do have a lot to unpack. And I need my brain and my subconscious to know that it is safe for me to release that pain, that once it's gone, I will still be safe, even without its weight on me. Why do I feel lighter every time I stop holding on so tightly? Along the same lines. And why is it okay for me to feel everything, even the hard stuff? Yeah, I am really good about getting that close to the edge, right? Like a day in bed bawling and crying and being exhausted, and I can toe that line, and I can shut it down, put it back, and just move on with life. So I really need to figure out a way to step over. I need to figure out how to step over that line, get it out. And even if it means I have to come back to it 1,000 times, then I need to learn how to do that, because um, physically and mentally, my body is suffering. I'm suffering because of the pain that I can't release. And this, of course, it's not just my mother's passing. It's just not my biological father. I have a lot. We all do. But you don't live 5 decades on this earth without accumulating some pain. And so I have a lot that I need to process. So I'm gonna get myself to the point where I feel like it is okay to feel all of it. Finances and abundance is another category. 1, 2, 3. There's 5 here. Why do new opportunities for abundance keep showing up for me? Why is financial peace becoming part of my everyday life? Why do smart money decisions now come from a place of confidence instead of fear? Why am I making smart choices that reduce my debt every month? And why am I getting better at preparing for the future without feeling deprived? I think those are pretty straightforward. The vast majority of us have dealt with debt in one shape or form. We've also dealt with poor financial choices, which, I'm just as guilty as the next person. Um, Jose and I are also in our 50s now. I'm 50, he's 52. And we don't want to work forever and ever. So planning for the future is important right now. It's something that it's on the radar for sure. My marriage, I have, it's weird. I had a hard time. I ended up with 5 here, but I actually had a hard time deciding to affirm my marriage, um, because my marriage is good, right? I don't, we don't show each other off on social media, and we don't brag about how wonderful everything is. But the truth is that Jose is my 3rd marriage. I am his 2nd marriage. And we front loaded our relationship with a lot of the honest discussions about what it would take for us to make it happily, not just make it, not just live through it, but to actually be a strong marriage, for years and years and years. I told him he owes me 40 years, and I want to get 40 years out of this marriage. Of course, that means we have to live into our 80s, but we'll see. But I also know that the things that you neglect, like you stop watering your plants, they're going to start to shrivel. So I went ahead and I did some affirmations for my marriage, just because I want to make sure that we don't get complacent, that we don't, I don't forget to do the things that I need to do to make sure he knows he's loved and to take care of him. So these 5 are: why does our marriage keep growing stronger through every season? Why are we both growing individually in ways that support our life together? I love this one because we are both going through our own stuff individually, and we don't go through every minute of it together. We do come together and talk about it, but it is important that he and I have our own time to work through the things that we need to work through on our own. And also just do the things like he likes truck shows and stuff, and he likes to go to go. I don't want to go. I mean, I love you, but I don't want to go to a truck show. So we're really good about that, about respecting each other's space. And I think that it just builds the marriage, makes it stronger. Third one is, why does our love feel both steady and exciting at the same time? That's the thing I see, after years, people talk about how it's so boring. I'm not there yet. I'm not there with Jose. I'm happy every day he walks in the front door after work. I'm happy to see him. I'm happy to spend time with him. And so I want that to continue. Why is it so easy to laugh, connect, and support each other? We play around a lot. We can't be serious on a regular basis. We have to like call it, be like, okay, we're going to talk now. But so I like this one. I want to continue to be, I want to laugh every day. And that man makes me laugh every day. And trust me, he laughs at me all the time because I do stupid stuff because I'm good at things. Why do I feel more loved, seen, and safe in this relationship every day? I'll tell you right now, the literally the one word that will describe why I made the choice to move forward with the relationship with Jose, whether I recognized it at the time or not, was because it was the first time in my entire life I felt 100% safe. I could do anything. I could say anything. I could be honest. I could tell him the ugly. I could show him the ugly. I could do any of it. And he was not going to judge me for it. And he was not going to think less of me for it. And that kind of safety in a relationship is something I will never take for granted. I appreciate that feeling and that man's ability to make me feel safe more than I appreciate anything else on the whole planet. So I, of course, want that to continue and to even grow if it's possible. And here we go. Here's the last one. Body, health, strength, and flexibility. So I did not. It's weird because when I told you about earlier, where I say, why is my 180-pound body getting healthier, stronger, and more flexible, it's not actually on here. So I don't know where my brain was when I was writing these, but these still apply. There's 4. Why is my body getting leaner, healthier, and more capable with each choice I make? Why is it getting easier to say no to habits that don't serve me anymore? Why is it becoming easier and more natural for me to live in a strong, flexible, healthy weight body I feel proud of? Why am I feeling lighter, stronger, and more energized every week in ways that feel doable and sustainable? So the big one here, the one besides just the straight up, I want to weigh 180 pounds. I want to be healthier. I want to be stronger. I want to be more flexible. The big one to me is, why is it getting easier to say no to the habits that don't serve me anymore? I am your classic emotional eater. It does not matter what the emotion is. I'm going to find a way to attach food to it. It's just the way it is. When I have my most stressful weeks is when I eat my biggest meals, like on Friday night. That's when I'm like, you give me all the Mexican food, give me all the buffalo wings and fries. And on a normal week, when I'm not super stressed out and I've had a good week, I'm like, I'll just, I'll eat some yogurt. Like literally, if I am bored, I start snacking. At work, I eat a lot during the day, just sitting at my desk. I just pull out a snack and I will eat, and I'm not even hungry. And I know that's not okay. And I know that's not the way it's supposed to be. But there are some days where I literally can't stop myself. I just have to snack. And all that is a way to soothe. I'm self soothing. I'm bored, or I'm frustrated, or I'm tired, or I'm whatever it is. And I feel the need to self soothe. And I always go to food for that. So not only did I change my kind of job path and move into a sit down desk job, I also just ignited these habits, that this dependency on food as a soother that has not helped me at all. It's led to dramatic weight gain over a 2 year period. It's led to pain in my body. It's led to a little bit less self confidence. Um, Again, I know it probably sounds weird because I say it's led to less self confidence, but then I also say that I'm not bothered by my body. And let me clear that up, because I know I don't want people to think I'm like full of crap, or I don't want it to make sense to you so you can't apply it in your own thinking. When I had that conversation with my doctor a few months ago, I here's how I explained it to her. I said, I don't care about the number. I do not care that I'm sitting at this number that I'm sitting at today. I don't care that I can't go to the store and buy a cute short skirt and look precious in it and go out and, feel great. I don't care about that. What I care about is the fact that the extra weight on my bones and joints and ligaments makes it harder for me to do the things I do care about. It makes it harder for me to have the stamina to come out here and garden all day long. It makes it harder for me to have the strength to lift 50-pound feed bags and carry them from the vehicle back to the chicken coop. I want a functional body. I may, as I go through this, drop that 180-pound mark completely, because if I get to it at a number that's higher than that, I don't care. Like, I want a body that functions in all of the ways I need and want it to. That's what I want. I want to be leaner, just because it makes sense that you have better stamina and better health when you don't carry this much extra weight. I want to be stronger, physically stronger. I want to be able to squat for long periods of time. I want to be able to carry all of the things I want to carry. I want to be able to lift soil and feed and things without my back hurting. I want all of those things. I want more flexibility. I want to not wake up with that crunched up, tight feeling in my muscles every single day. I want to be able to sit down at the computer and do editing or do my job or do any of those things without everything tightening up. I want to just be more flexible. And of course, I want to be healthier. I want to make sure that I have many, many, many more years of a healthy body that can actually be present for my children getting married and having their own children, for them graduating college. I want to be able to be healthy. I want to be able to have the health and the stamina that it takes to be around for all of those events, and to celebrate them happily without feeling pain or exhaustion. That's what's most important to me. Out of all of the things that I've got going on, my body right now is probably my number one priority. That's why I wrote it last. In the book, when I was writing these down yesterday, I was thinking about all of these things, and I was like, I'm going to hold off on that one because it's rising to the top as like the most important thing. Oh, I guess I punched something and it just started recording. I still don't know how to use my own stuff. I swear. Okay. No, I didn't press the button. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Um, I think that affirmations, as opposed to affirmations, are going to be powerful for me. I think that they could be powerful for you. I don't have any personal experience with them being used consistently over time yet, but that's what we're doing here. This is the start. This is where we begin. To wrap it up, I'm not here to give you the results. Like, this is not an after, this is a before. This whole video is a before. Um, Hopefully, if you've made it through all of this, you're interested in the idea of affirmations, you think they might work for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments, because I would love to have a reason to research this more and teach somebody something. But we're going to see what happens, and I am going to work out exactly how I'm going to use these. The guy that I saw on the video said he asks himself his questions every morning. I tend to not do well in the mornings. I don't wake up super fast. That may change as I become, healthier and more alert and all that. But I think I'm going to start in the evenings. I think I'm going to get back into my journaling practice. I used to journal every day, and of course, that's one of the things I let go. But I think I'm going to use the affirmations during that time. So I'm going to track it through videos, and we'll see how it goes. No, I didn't press the button.